boogeyman.
As a matter of fact, it was.
The third commercial, it's still on, please. Take off the third channel, the third channel. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
How can a man do this? Still me.
It isn't a man.
What is he?
Evil.
What happened to the sister? She died, right?
No, she faked her death, hoping and praying every year that her brother won't find her.
Do you know that I pray every night that he would escape?
What the hell do you do that for?
So I can kill him.
No, I was just watching this video the other day, like a Vsauce video about like names, like names matching faces and all that. And it got me thinking of like Halloween, like Michael Myers is like, I don't know, it just rolls off the tongue. It feels nice to say, it matches. But like, could you imagine, do you think Halloween would have been successful if John Carpenter like named him like Hubert or something? You know, like Dylan. Watch out, it's Hubert Myers.
With as scary as Halloween is, I feel like it would have transcended even a bad name like that.
Yeah, I don't know. They probably just would have called him something else, like the Boogeyman.
Yeah,
he would have just gone by that.
Yeah,
but I was just thinking of like Loomis, you know, just yelling, I studied this boy for 17 years. Connor Myers is pure evil.
Connor.
Yeah, I don't know. just names that don't fit Michael Myers, like his aesthetic.
Yeah, I've always thought that as a kid. What, like even Jason and Freddy, where I'm like, those don't sound like scary names. Why would I be scared of them? And then I saw what they look like, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I understand.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess maybe, yeah, if he was originally named something a bit more wacky. Maybe we would just roll with it. But I wouldn't be scared of a Hubert.
No, probably not me either.
I would bully a
honest. Maybe that's the lore. They could make it so his name was originally Hubert.
Yeah,
but
his sister always bullied him.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad named you Hubert. That's stupid. One name Michael.
That name sounds like a sissy name.
Huey Myers was bullied since birth for his name.
Huey Myers?
Yeah, because you know they sometimes condense it to Mike. Huey.
My question was, you know what I've always wondered about Michael Myers' name? You know what I've always wondered Myers think about being named after a famous serial killer? Like, I wonder if he's ever said anything publicly about that.
Oh, and they like joke. Well, in what's that movie? Baby Driver. They make that joke.
Oh, do
where
they?
They had to get the Mike Myers masks, and one guy got like an actual Mike Myers mask.
Oh, like the actor.
Yeah, and they're like, "No, we're talking about the movie Halloween." You know. So I'm sure he gets that joke made all the time.
Oh yeah, he's had a lot of crappy movies over the years. It would surprise me if he didn't mind that for some kind of terrible joke in one of those.
After Halloween ends, give it 5 years, they'll do another reboot of the franchise, and they're gonna cast Mike Myers to play Michael Myers.
Oh no, make it a comedy.
Yeah, a horror comedy. I'm surprised that's already not some like shitty SNL bit.
Or they make fun of Michael Myers.
Yeah, and they get Mike Myers to do it.
Yeah, but that's a good point actually. Why is like it seems like Jason is always the one that gets like in parody stuff like that. Why is that?
Because I think he's the least self-serious.
That makes sense.
Like Michael is self-serious, so I think making Michael funny is funny.
Mm-hmm.
But and then Freddy, he's already like a jokester.
Right.
But Jason is kind of that middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
Where like he's in goofy movies, but he himself isn't.
I see. So it's easier to make something funny about him.
Yeah.
Compared to Michael.
One thing I've come to realize, and in this watching, all these movies, is that Michael Myers is a little goofball. He's like a mischievous little guy.
Yeah, he definitely has a sense of humor.
Yeah, he's like always pulling little pranks, pretending like dressing up like other people, and like for no reason. Like he could just kill them,
Oh yeah.
Like he could just leave their body there. But he's like, oh, what if I hang him and put a little pumpkin on his head? That'd be funny. Like he's a whimsical guy.
Yeah, one of the kills in Halloween Kills, or I guess it was a duo of kills, but one of the ways he sets them up after they're dead was like, wow, Michael, something's going on there. He thinks that's funny.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like Michael, he doesn't talk, but in his head there's just a monotone ha 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 funny.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's he definitely has a sense of humor. That's what's always made him unique, because it's never like I don't know, like really brought attention to it. It's always seemed like you can like imagine what he's thinking, even though he doesn't say anything. That's kind of what the power of a silent character like him is that like you can really imprint your own thoughts onto him.
That's the power of the head tilt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I know that is like a theory that people say, like because the mask is white, you can like see yourself in it more because it's blank. So it adds like like a kind of like an uncanny characteristic to him.
Yeah.
But that was definitely not thought of when they picked out the mask.
Oh no! Based on what John Carpenter said, he literally just was like, "Hey, you, go get Halloween masks from the store, and then we'll pick out one to do." So they went and got a bunch of them, and one of them was like a clown one, and then they picked out a William Shatner mask, and apparently they just like cut the eyes open wider in it, painted it white, and then dyed the hair brown. And they're like, "Here you go, John." He's like, "Oh wow, that's perfect."
Yeah, you gave me a weird little guy. Thanks. That's awesome.
Let's put it on him and get the scene going. We only have like 6 hours to shoot.
Yeah. Let's have this psychosexual serial killer just murder these teenagers.
No, it's one of the most, I think, accidentally genius creative choices in the history of horror, really.
Yes. You can say that about almost the entirety of Halloween.
Yeah, honestly, the original is such a random occurrence of like artfulness that like even other Halloween movies have never been able to recreate.
That's, I think, what John Carpenter is really great at, because John Carpenter like doesn't give a shit and then gives a lot of shit at the same time.
Yeah.
Where like he really cares about the art, he understands the medium, but he doesn't like all the pretentious crap.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when he does stuff, it's maybe, I don't know, it's a bit more subconscious when he's doing the stuff.
Oh yeah.
When he comes up with those really good like decisions that are like metaphorical or whatever. But like in his mind, he's like, oh yeah, this is scary, cool. Like this looks nice. Yeah. And that's what I love about John Carpenter.
Yeah, he's like the ultimate Chad. He really is.
He's like the film director Chad.
Yeah, now he just sits around and plays video games, right? Apparently.
Yeah, he plays Fallout 76 all day and smokes weed.
That's the life. That's the life right there.
Well, let's get into our final episode of the previous Halloweens before ends.
Yeah.
I let out a big sigh of relief when I finished Kills. Not because the movie was over and I wanted to move on with my life, but because like we did it. We watched like 12 movies in the span of like a month.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
And it definitely puts a lot in perspective of like the creative choices and the varying quality. Watching them all back to back. There's so many. I've seen all these movies, most of them multiple times before us doing this marathon. But seeing them back to back made me like realize, like, I guess point out a lot more flaws and inconsistencies. And it really I know for me, and I'm pretty sure you agree, us like pinpoint what is so great about Halloween.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And like all the good ones that what gets it right, and then what they continue to get wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that I think they continually got wrong somehow, which is like one of the most important aspects of Michael's character, is his mask.
Yes,
Like
somehow.
for years, almost fucking 3 decades.
Up until Rob Zombie.
Yeah, like it's just it was crazy to me and baffling that they're that incompetent.
That's the most important part.
Right, and I think that's just mostly because Mustafa Akkad was one of those guys that like he cared about the franchise, but only as much as it made him money.
Yeah.
So every movie, like we found when we watched behind the scenes, everyone was always saying like, "Oh yeah, Mustafa was like, we got to make it like the first one, you know, keep making it like the first one." But then you don't give it a budget. You hire a bunch of people who are like new or really don't know what they're doing,
Or don't care.
Yeah, or just straight up don't care because they're like, wow, this is a Michael Myers movie. Like, who gives a shit? And then the mask doesn't turn out correctly. Like, we've seen there's so many mistakes in these movies, especially 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
So it was nice to finally get to the Rob Zombie ones, and after someone else had taken the reins of the franchise, and see someone actually try something different and creative and actually have like a good creative vision that doesn't feel like someone just doing their job, you know, which I think all the ones previous besides the original felt like that. Even H20, which I don't think is bad. It felt like very workmanlike in the way it was shot and edited and you know, that whole thing.
Yeah, they hired a guy to make a movie.
Right.
Not a Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but now so we talked about Rob Zombie, the last Rob Zombie film was 2009, which was Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which did very badly.
Oh yeah,
critically and financially, and the fans hated it.
They weren't ready for it.
No, it was a failure on all 3 fronts for them. And that was still a Dimension Film and Weinstein venture, which they did H20 Resurrection and the Rob Zombie Halloween 1 and 2. So basically they were immediately after they made it, they had already started getting a script ready for Rob Zombie's Halloween 3, but Rob didn't want to come back, understandably, because he said it like the whole process of making those movies was so draining. He didn't even want to come back for 2 initially.
Yeah, and then he had to fight. He basically just said, let me do whatever I want.
Oh yeah.
Or you don't get a movie.
Right. And like it was like, I think one of the things they also said was like, you know, this movie's going to happen with or without you. So it's like you come back and make sure your creative vision is upheld with this movie, or we're moving on and someone else is going to continue your story. I think that's what convinced Rob to come back and continue it, because he didn't want someone else to be like meddling with his stuff.
That would piss me off if I was like a creative like that.
Oh yeah, especially with something like Halloween, where you know some hack is just going to come in after someone really creative has done something and like ruin it, which has happened time and time again with this franchise. So yeah, basically the Weinstein's Dimension weren't interested in making another one after Halloween 2's failure. So basically they just let the rights lapse. So they went back to the rights holders, and from what my research could find, obviously the Akkads are one of the rights holders, and I believe John Carpenter is another one.
Yeah, because I saw on 2018, they were both producers.
Yeah, so from there, when it went back to them, basically they were just like, you know, we've done so many Halloween movies, and so many of them have been failures.
Yeah.
Like, let's take some time, let's take a break, and if we're going to do another one, let's rethink it and make it good. So I guess years later, some of the rights holders were tossing around the idea of basically ignoring every single movie besides the first one and making a sequel directly to the first one, and basically cutting out all the fat.
That's smart.
So then they were like, okay, well, what's a modern production company that we could sell the rights to that like kind of is on the pulse of young people, that is going to be able to get people in seats? And then I guess the first one that came to mind was Blumhouse. So then they talked to Jason Blum, and Jason Blum was like, "Oh yeah, of course I'm gonna fucking take Halloween. Why wouldn't I? I'd be stupid not to."
Yeah, that's like eat free money.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a recognizable name. People like it. Generally, people like Michael Myers.
It doesn't even matter if you make a good movie. It's been like almost 10 years since the last one. People matter if you make a good movie. It's been
right, exactly. So yeah, then Jason Blum was like, all right, how do we do this? They want to do a movie where it's a sequel directly to the first one, the 1978 film. And then I guess around that same time, obviously Get Out came out, which was another Blumhouse venture, which was like a huge success for them critically and financially. And I guess Jason Blum was like tossing around the idea of approaching comedy directors who are typically comedy directors like Jordan Peele.
That makes sense.
Or comedy people. He wasn't a comedy director, but... so because I guess, and this is an idea that I have been thinking about for a while, because I've been thinking about making a video on it actually, but how similar comedy and horror are to each other, kind of, because like horror is a lot of suspense. It's like build up, and then there's a release. And I think comedy is like extremely similar in that.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Right. There's a build up, but it's a different kind of release. It's a comedic release. Like whenever a good joke is told, it's something unexpected. It's like a release of tension from the story that you're being told. So I guess Jason Blum kind of saw that too, and that's why he got Jordan Peele, and that worked out so well. So then I guess he was like, okay, what can I do for Halloween? I want to do something like that. So then he approached David Gordon Green to direct. He basically emailed him and was like, hey, how do you feel about Halloween? Because I guess they had been talking for a while about something to work for him, like horror-wise. And so then I guess David Gordon Green kind of thought about it for a while, and he came up with an idea, which was basically what we got, which was, Laurie, she's dealing with trauma. It's 40 years later. It's a direct sequel to the first film. We kind of remix elements that have been used in the past, but maybe execute them in a different way that could end up being more palatable for audiences.
Right.
So Jason Blum liked that pitch, and then I guess David Gordon Green and his friend Danny McBride, who they've done a lot of stuff together. Like I think they both wrote like Pineapple Express.
Yeah, that's what they're most known for.
Yeah, Danny McBride did Eastbound and Down. So they're really like funny people that are typically funny. And
you definitely see that in both of these movies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then, so then basically they brought their script to Jamie Lee Curtis. They basically just called her and were like, hey, would you do this Halloween movie? And, bless Jamie, because she apparently just reads any idea that people have for her and decides whether or not to take it.
Yeah.
But she said that 4 pages into the script that she was like, oh, yeah, I'll do this for sure.
That's nice.
And once they had her on, then the whole thing was a go. So they went forward with that script. And then they also somehow got John Carpenter on board. Because I guess...
I know he did the score, and he supervised a lot.
Yeah, and he basically has uncredited writing credits on the 2018 film as well. Because David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, when they were writing it, were constantly in contact with him. And one of the famous quotes that always makes me laugh that David Gordon Green says about working with John was he helped him with all these scripts, and he thought their ideas were great, but then John said, as for how he gets the mask and jumpsuit back, you guys are on your own.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but another funny John Carpenter story is how Jason Blum got John back to do these movies. Because I guess Jason Blum was like, if we're gonna do these franchises, we got to get the people involved that originally made them great, or else we're not doing it. And so then he talked to John, and basically he said it was a 15-minute long meeting with him in person. And basically they went through 10 minutes of the meeting, and John Carpenter wasn't impressed with him. He was like, okay, I don't give a shit. And then, and then Jason Blum changed his approach in those last few minutes, where he's just like, John, this movie is going to happen with or without you. I'm sorry to say. So you can either grouchily sit at the sidelines and be mad that we're making it, or you can actually be involved and help us make it good. And then apparently in that meeting, John agreed to do it after he said that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd respect Jason Blum for that if I was John Carpenter. I'd be like, at least you're honest.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I think that's what it kind of took, because I'm sure John has been like really bandied about with this franchise for all these years, just because it's treated him so badly. Like,
yeah.
I mean, just with the whole Akkad situation and him not getting the money he felt like he deserved. So, yeah, and then John agreed to come on as composer, not director. So, and then he helped with the script as well. So basically, that's kind of where we arrive when 2018 came out. It was a huge success, financially, definitely, and also critically. And this was like a huge breath of relief from, I think, the fan base and really the community at large for Michael Myers.
I remember seeing it together and I was super stoked and I was just so happy it was good.
Yeah.
I was like, finally, a good Halloween movie.
I know, yeah. Because, I don't know if I've ever really said this, but when growing up, like, I always watched movies that were, like, not really good, but, like, my family thought they were good, like Adam Sandler movies. And I thought that's what movies were. Like, stuff like that, like bedtime stories. Like, I got out of the theater, I was like, oh, wow, that was awesome. And then when I got into high school and even, like, a little after college, I think Halloween was the first movie that I saw for the first time, the original, where I was like, wow, movies can be good in this way. Like, that's crazy to me. I never like realized that before. So Halloween really was my first fascination. And I remember being so disappointed when I looked at the sequels, because I really wanted to see what was next. And I saw like how terrible they were. I think I watched 2 almost immediately after watching the first one, because I was just so enamored with it. And I was like, that was okay, but I felt like it's a huge step down, right? So I've always wanted there to be another sequel that was like, good, actually.
Good.
Yeah. Something that carried through that emotional resonance, because I always loved Laurie as a character, and H20 treats her really well, but I feel like you could have had a bigger emotional arc with her in that film. And I really feel like this 2018 film takes advantage of how relatable Laurie was and how much I think audiences and people who watched it really imprinted themselves on her. Like having her see her go through something so horrible, where her 40 years of her life, she basically like made everyone hate her, and just let this one night like define her. So I thought that was an interesting way to approach this 2018 film. And yeah, I think we saw it in the theater together, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. I think we all really liked it initially coming out of it, from what I remember.
I remember really liking it. I really hadn't watched it again since. I know you've been like fanboying about it ever since, and you'd always like reference it. And I'm going to be honest, watching it this time around after seeing all of them, I don't like it as much. I still think it's good.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good movie, but I don't like it as much. My biggest complaint about it is, and this is just 2018. I'm not even counting kills right now. I'm just talking our characters in 2018.
Yeah.
Is I did not like Laurie actually this time around as much. I know everything that you just said I'm about to just shit on. But
that's okay.
But for me, Laurie in this one, and I've said it before, as I feel her character is a bit too like overbearing. Like, to me it's very one note.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's fine, right? I think it's an interesting idea. She spent 40 years of her life preparing, basically for a threat that may not even happen. Because why would it? He's locked away, and that has affected her daughter. It made her lose her kid, the different several marriages she had, blah, 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 blah. The daughter's still traumatized. But for me, I don't get that Laurie gets any more deeper than that. It's very like one note. And almost all the characters just say how they're feeling. Where they'll be like, Laurie, I know Michael Myers attacked you when he killed those 3 teenagers Halloween 1978, but you got to get over it. And she's like, I know, because Michael Myers attacked me and 3 other teenagers Halloween night in 1978. That is why I'm like this way. You know, and it's just... Yeah. For me, I honestly, I mean, you know how I feel. I obviously, Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween, Laurie is my favorite. I think that is such an amazing character, and I think it's one of the best depictions of trauma in horror in general. Yeah. Because that, honestly, every slasher sequel does the trauma bit, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. That's fine. And I don't think Halloween 2018 does it bad at all.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just very one note. It's a bit too on the nose. Mm-hmm. And at times, it's almost like, I don't know, unrealistic to a point. Where for me, I much picture age 20 Laurie, you know, moving off, becoming a functional alcoholic, trying to cope with it, can't, still has all these like other like manias, you know. And with age 20, I felt there was a bit more because he had like the relationship with her son. Like, he still loved her. He didn't understand it. She couldn't make him understand it. I think that, to me, is more interesting, the back and forth between that. Yeah. Than just, I hate you, Mom. You ruined my life. And for me, with the 2018 one, is her family I don't give a shit about.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that doesn't help. I know the movie, and this is all personal preference. Mm-hmm. I just find that because it's focusing so much on Laurie, which I am more interested in, I feel like we don't get time to cook with the other members of the family, the daughter and granddaughter. So they are just kind of extensions of Laurie's character, only to drive Laurie. So I don't care when Judy Greer confronts Michael. Like, I don't give a shit. You know?
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And, you know, I think, much more cynical when it comes to movies. Like, most of my favorite movies make me feel really bad. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think I gravitate more towards Rob Zombie's depiction of post-trauma Laurie. Yeah. I just think that's more grounded in nuance than 2018. Mm-hmm. So for watching it, I don't know. Laurie was just kind of like, yeah, we get it. Okay. You know, and I understand, you know, everyone processes trauma different, and that's fine. This depiction is fine. Just for me personally, this time around watching all the others, and maybe I wouldn't have felt this way if I didn't just previously watch all the others. But it just felt very like, I don't know, just too on the nose for me.
Yeah, no, I definitely see and agree with a lot of what you're saying. Over the years, I've definitely come to be a lot more critical of this movie for more reasons than one. It's like a whole bunch of different things. Mm-hmm. But like, when we talk about kills, like the problems that Kills has, 2018 also has, but to a much lesser extent. Yeah. Overall, I definitely agree, because like I felt like we needed more time with the Strode family. Even in 2018, I feel like there's too many characters.
Yeah. Well, and again, they're just there for Michael to kill.
Right, yeah. That was my problem with initially. Like, I remember thinking initially, like, whenever I'm watching a movie, I always remember the thought that my feelings about something when I first see it. Because there's usually a lot of truth to what I'm feeling, usually, but I might not be able to voice it right away. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching this and, like, the first act of the film with those podcaster people. Yeah. I remember watching it and thinking like, oh, okay, these are the new main characters of this movie. Right. And I was thinking like, oh, Laurie's going to be like a side character or some shit like that. But then the podcasters get killed off like right after the first act, which is a really good scene and really scary. But structure-wise and like character-wise, it doesn't really make much sense, and it's kind of like sloppy.
Well, he had to get the mask somehow. All right.
Right, yeah, no, they had to figure out how to get the mask. I literally think that's the only reason the documentary people are there, is because they needed to figure out some way for him to get
And they need a quick rehash of what Laurie's been up to the last 40 years.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was thinking, like, you know what, the documentary people would have been fine if they were around the whole movie and they were our, like, portal into this story. Like,
They're kind of like our unbiased viewer.
right, exactly. That's kind of the way I wanted it to be. And I even remember thinking, because, like, I always, what is another thing I think that's always weird about that bathroom scene when they die? It looks like the guy is still alive. Like,
Yeah.
he gets his head bashed in, and he's like, it shows a shot of him when the girl is getting killed, and he's still like moving and breathing.
Yeah.
So I always thought, like, oh, he'll come back and kills, and then we see kills and he's not there. We're like, okay, maybe he'll be back in Halloween Ends or something like that. But I felt like he should have been around longer and should have been like the main character, and like like I said, the way we kind of get into this story.
Yeah.
Because I think just like Kills, which has that problem even bigger, this one does too.
Way too many characters.
It doesn't feel like, there's like a main character really. It's focusing on all these different people, and you don't really get enough from any of them other than Laurie, really, because the whole story's about her and everyone's reaction to her. You don't really get enough time with all of them for it to feel satisfying to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of this movie follows Michael. And the only time we're seeing these extra characters is set up to Michael coming in and killing them.
Right.
Like the babysitter and that like goofy friend.
Yeah. Which I get what they're trying to do. They're doing what Terrifier 2 did, but Terrifier 2 spent the entire movie on those characters. Or like you build them up and you make your audience like them because you're seeing what they do and how they act in everyday life, how they interact with each other, like how good of people they are, and then have them killed in really horrible, like grisly ways. Like that one scene in this with the dad and his son in the car when they find the crashed bus. That feels like that to me, where they're trying to give actual personality to these people before they die, which I like the idea of that, but like
just in practice, there's too much of it, I think, in this one.
It's well, I don't think there's enough of it, if you know what I mean. I think they kill too many people like that, but you need to have those people around longer.
I see what you mean. I understand. I completely agree.
Yeah, like you need to, because it feels like I felt this especially watching Kills, because with their technique of how they write scenes, when it's like what that old lady, that old couple at the beginning of Kills with the drone. I remember thinking like, okay, well they're gonna die, because they're like giving us all this like back and forth banter with them. They're supposed to make us like them, and I was like, it worked for 2018 because that was the first time we were seeing it, but now it's like seems like really obvious what you're doing. I don't know. It does. It suffers from way too many characters, streamlined, and it's just like all over the place for a lot of it. Yeah. But I still find it likable for the most part.
It's enjoyable.
I still like it. Yeah, it's very entertaining.
And I think the most important part is they got Michael right. They got Michael, finally, after so many years.
I think that's why most people like this movie, is because it gets Laurie and Michael right. I think that's why people are so positive.
It understands Michael. It just struggles connecting them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And we get new Loomis in order to do that, which is very schlocky. Which, that is, honestly, you should spend more on that guy than all these random teenagers.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, when his whole diabolical plan comes out, I'm like, yeah, okay, where was this? Like,
right.
It just comes completely out of left field.
Yeah, and I get what they're trying to do. Like, I get like, okay, this is like, it's kind of a remake of the original Halloween. Like, it goes similar plot points, like Michael breaks out. He's somewhere, we don't know where he is. He's killing people, all we don't know where he is.
Doctor's after him.
Right, you got his former doctor's looking for him, trying to stop him, in quotation marks. And I see they're trying to do something like a twist, like unexpected, like, oh,
what if Loomis was evil?
Yeah, Loomis wanted to kill Michael Myers. What if Loomis was like wanted to fuck him? Basically. Which I like that idea. I like that idea, but the way they do it, like we said, it's like the script is too crowded, and you needed to spend more time with that.
You need a lot of time. That could be a whole movie.
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely.
Just, Michael in the thing, the doctor being like, "Oh yes, he's important because there's no killer like him. I want to examine him. Oh, what if I release him into the wild? Yes, see where he goes, see what he does, study him." You know that it's like, okay, that's interesting.
Right,
But
exactly.
to never develop any of that and then suddenly like segueing into the third act by just going, surprise, I want Michael to meet with Laurie. But like, was that his intention when he was getting on the bus?
See, that I don't know.
Because he was like, they were like, "Doctor, you don't need to be on here." And he's like, "He's my patient for the last 20 years. I'm gonna get him to where he needs to go."
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you don't, dude. So like, was his plan? But like, again, they even say like, "Oh, Michael like overpowered the guard and killed the driver." But like,
yeah,
did he unlock him? Was that?
I think I want to say it seems implied that the doctor helped him break out. They don't show that. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So you don't really know for sure.
Yeah, the doctor. Basically, my big saving grace of this movie is all the Michael stuff is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's super creepy. The kills are actually good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of my favorite parts is with just him going house to house killing those people.
Oh yeah,
and
that's a great.
And it's incredibly well shot.
Yeah,
too. Like, there's that one shot of the woman like getting the call, like, "Oh, the Michael Myers escaped." She's like, "Oh, that's weird." And like, you see like Michael go up to the window, and then like you see him walk away, and it's like one shot. Then you see him like in the side window walking, and then you see him like go into the house. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really well done, and there's a lot of creative just horror scenes in general. I think notice watching Halloween and Halloween Kills, there's a lot of remixed ideas from previous entries.
Yes.
Like in Halloween 4, there's that one bathroom scene with the mother and her kid.
Yeah, we've seen that Michael Myers bathroom scene so many times.
We have, yes. But it's never been executed to its full potential until this movie. Because that, I don't know why, that scene that when he's in the bathroom and the documentarian lady is on the toilet and he comes in. Yeah, that scene is fucking terrifying. It's like, it's bone chilling to me.
Yeah.
The thing that creeps me out most about it is initially when Michael is like looking through the slits in the doors.
Mm-hmm.
Like something about like that, just somebody coming up while you're in this place where you can't escape. Like, and just being right in front of the door and looking in at you is like so like terrifying to me. And I've known a lot of women in my life who are like watch that scene and like they have like nightmares from it because it's just terrifying to think that like a man could come in there and you'd have no way of defending yourself. There's just no way out.
Yeah, Halloween 2018 makes you feel like a woman.
It definitely does. A woman with 40 years of trauma.
Yeah,
has 1,000 guns in her house.
Who just wants to protect her family.
Yeah. Then the other there's just a lot of creative scenes. Yeah, like that one shot where you're just following Michael killing a whole bunch of people. Mm-hmm. And then as well the motion light scene.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
When Oscar's in the backyard, and then as Michael's moving, like the light turns on and he's in a different place. Like, all those are like really creative like kills. Like the horror stuff in this movie is like really well executed, like from a director standpoint.
Even like the babysitter kill when she goes to close the closet and it like doesn't close. She's like, "What the heck?" And just kind of pushes it, and then she opens it. It's just Michael there.
Yeah, that was scary. But that scene, that's another one of my downsides of this movie. Well, it's only really happens in that scene in particular. That feels like a scene almost from Scary Movie or something.
Yeah, the little kid.
Yeah, like the kid is like Michael is attacking her, right? And like the John Carpenter music is like playing, like it's a scary scene, right? Like normal. But then the kid is like on the stairs and he sees Michael and he's like, "Nope." And it's like, what the hell are we supposed to be feeling? We're supposed to be laughing or terrified?
Yeah, he literally goes, "Oh shit," and then runs.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think that's a pretty realistic reaction. Well, it may not be
I
scary.
mean, it is. Yeah.
I think if I saw Michael Myers, I'd be like, oh shit, and just run.
Right. Like that if like Scary Movie did like a skit about Michael, it would be something like that. You know, like it just feels like out of place. And that's where like their comedy roots kind of start to seep in. Or I think they don't blend them into the movie as well as like Jordan Peele does.
Right.
I think they stick out more in this like a sore thumb because the movie is like so serious and dramatic otherwise is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think what Jordan Peele does well is, I think the biggest faults that we've been saying with these movies is that Jordan Peele really likes to pick characters, flesh out their personality, and make them really likable. And then they're funny. And also, I think Jordan Peele understands a lot of like absurd situations.
Yeah.
Where Halloween, there's not a whole lot of room for like absurdist humor. Well, like Terrifier 2 is horrifying, but it's funny because of how absurd it is.
Right, yeah.
Where when they're going full self-serious Michael, it's really hard to fit in like absurd scenes.
Right, because he's just like some guy in a mask and a butcher knife that's just killing normal people. Like there's nothing really like zany about what he's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we're dogging at it a lot, but at least for me, I still really like this movie. I personally really like Laurie in this movie. I just think something about her fighting back Michael like she is, where she's just like...
Oh, it's extremely satisfying.
Yeah, I love all the details, like how she basically built that house to be an exact recreation of the house from 1978 that she chased Michael around in. And it's just like, that's what I was missing from H20 as well, where it was like, at the end of that movie, Laurie and Michael just kind of like have a brawl.
Yeah.
And it's not really like, if you're just going to have a brawl, it needs to be like Rob Zombie's Halloween, like
raw.
Like raw, bloody, like brutal. You know what I mean? But it didn't really go that far. So then if you're going to have a brawl, it has to be witty then, if you're not going to go the brutal route, right? You have to do stuff that is, like, smart.
It's very satisfying from the audience because the whole movie, everyone's like, Laurie, you're crazy. Laurie, you're crazy. Why would you do this, Laurie? You're wasting your time. And then it's like, oh, it's happening. Oh, shit, she was right. She was ready.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Right.
But our first responders ruined it.
Yes.
Halloween... this new trilogy is very anti-first responders.
Apparently, yeah.
Defund the fire department.
But I mean, I just liked the whole ending. Like, I thought it was really cool the way she like cleared rooms when she like went in and she like closes the door. And I thought that was just like so smart, like something you don't ever see a character do in a horror movie. Right. Like, I just love setting up Michael as like this like unkillable threat, like this terrifying boogeyman in the first one, basically having him win and wreak terror on Laurie and her friends, and then having that character come back and be like so smart about like giving it back to Michael and like having like this whole huge plan. Like you don't ever see that in a horror movie, and I thought that was such a cool thing to do. And then the way they defeat him at the end is just like so smart. It's set up so nicely, trapping him in the basement and setting it on fire. It's just a very satisfying end, at least we thought.
Yeah. Honestly, I would have been fine if Laurie kills Michael in that one and they just didn't make 2 other movies. I would be perfectly content.
No, I wanted it to end there. I left the theater being like, hell yeah, he's gone. I like that movie. It's over.
Hell yeah, Michael's dead.
And then they announced like a week later, after it made like $1 gazillion, like, oh, we envisioned this as a trilogy. Sorry, got 2 more for you. And then I was like, all right, well, you did this one pretty well. I would love to see where it goes. Like, so I gave him the chance.
It amazes me that Halloween Kills is written and directed by the same people. Like, I genuinely cannot fathom. Like, I do not understand the thinking going into Kills.
No.
It throws everything it's set up in 2018, completely throws it to the side. It almost like they press pause on all of it. And it's just like a fetishization of Michael Myers on top of a bunch of garbage.
And I think it's feeding into like there's a weird part of the fandom that like I think it just has happened just because you have so many of these movies and they all revolve around Michael Myers, really. But like, it just feels so fed by those people that like love Michael, and like almost like because he's like an unspeaking character, they like imprint themselves onto him. Like, like he's thinking what I'm thinking. Oh, that's funny how he killed that person. Ha ha. I relate to Michael. Like, it's like so like weird that happens, and it's like just a thing that happens in literature, especially recently. I found, where like really unlikable people that start out as kind of likable but also kind of assholes end up like people just love them, like Walter White,
Tony Soprano, Don Draper.
Don Draper, yeah. I just wanted to talk about that in general because I think I'm kind of tired of that kind of character because of what it does like this, where people are like, oh, he's badass, even though he like murders people. Like at the beginning of his movie, he murders like fucking 10 different firefighters who are just there doing their jobs and being good people. And people are like, hell yeah, kill him, Michael. Yeah, stab him in the face. It's like, I mean, it feels very strange to be like,
to me, that's the best part of the movie, but only because I think it's cool. I don't promote Michael doing that.
Oh, no, yeah. I don't think anybody like realistically does, but I think some people
just want to
there
see Michael Myers kill a lot of people, and then that determines how good the movie is for them.
Right, exactly. Like those same people will say like, "Oh, I want Michael Myers to win and Halloween Ends. I want him to kill Laurie." And it's like, "What? Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, that'd be stupid.
Yeah, that would be like
maybe the most cynical horror movie ever.
Oh yeah, like
just evil wins.
What is satisfying about that? We've seen evil win for 13 movies straight. Like, you know, like can we have one where evil doesn't win? Like, don't you think that is like a better way to do something unexpected? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think at least 2018 did a really good job at showing the negative aspects of Laurie's life. You know, like her disconnect with her daughter, how it traumatized her family. And it's like, yeah, you're prepared. That's awesome. But like, there's a line that Laurie crosses. Yeah. And they do a really good job at that. So you can, I guess, maybe say, you know, good wins, but at what cost? And that's interesting to do.
Oh yeah, like I don't know. I think I like what Kills is doing. Like I genuinely think that the ideas in this movie, I can see what they're trying to do and why they think it's good. Like the whole mob thing where they're like, basically 2018 was setting up Laurie's like trauma and being like, she let this thing that happened 40 years ago to her define her entire life, right? It ruined all of her relationships. And so basically Halloween Kills is like, yeah, it did do that to her, but that's not a good thing. Like being like taking it back to your killer, being so obsessed with it, like it's self-destructive. It's like we've seen Laurie, she has a terrible relationship with her daughter because of it. Like I feel like people take the wrong message from 2018 in this. I think that's part of the problem with 2018 was like, oh yeah, like we set up all this stuff like, right, like her daughter hates Laurie because she made her childhood a living hell because she had to learn how to shoot guns and fight, all the stuff that a kid is not supposed to do.
Right.
But then at the end, like the whole arc is that Laurie is right in doing that.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand either.
Because Michael comes back and Laurie defeats him. So it's like, are we supposed to think that Laurie was correct in doing that?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
so
traumatizing a child is the right thing to do.
I know. So that's why I think that's where they were coming from with Kills, because they were like, oh wow, like people kind of missed the point of that. Let's like really hammer it home that like doing that is a bad thing. Like, but I think they took it to a really comical extreme.
Yeah. Yeah. They really did.
Yeah, like it's just so bad.
I remember seeing this in theaters, and I remember like I think 10 minutes in, I leaned over and I was told you like this is a piece of shit. Like during that Tommy Doyle scene, I was like, oh my god, like I genuinely couldn't believe like I was witnessing this. And I'll be honest, I really did not like Kills at all. Like, there are not a lot of good things I have to say about it.
No.
Other than the kills.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Michael Myers is like the only character really that Michael and somewhat Laurie come out of this unscathed.
And then again, Michael, they do kind of the same thing that previous sequels just don't get right, is they just don't really know what to do with Michael. So they're just like, oh yeah, he likes to look out his window, so he's gonna go to his house, I guess. And that's like, I'm like, when did this become a thing?
No, because it only raises more questions. You know?
Yeah.
Like why even attempt to explain why he's doing what he's doing or why he wants to go back to the house if like you're just gonna not even explain it all the way and just kind of do a halfway.
Do the same conclusion Loomis always had was, oh, he must be going back to his house. It's the only place he knows. You know?
That's all you need.
That's fine. That's all you need. He's just gonna go to his house. Just let him go to his house.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the characters they add are terrible. Like I texted you because Carolina watched like the last half with me. We were cheering when Tommy Doyle got his head bashed in. That shows you how bad your protagonist is.
I know. I was remembering something our mutual friend said after we got out of that screening was he said that Tommy Doyle was like one of those guys in high school that their life peaked in their junior year, but they just don't know it yet. Yeah, I just think that's so accurate. And I was laughing so hard at that shot of him like holding the bat over his back like he's a badass.
Yeah, I was like, come on. My problem is, and we've said this a lot, I think, throughout these episodes, just in general, not just about Halloween, is one of our biggest pet peeves and when movies treats the audience like they're idiots.
Yeah.
And Halloween Kills does nothing but that. Every character is constantly telling you what they're doing, what they're going to do, and why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Constantly. I don't think there's a single conversation in this movie that isn't that. And it always, oh my god, I think this was my complaint in Resurrection too. I understand that in 1978 Halloween Night in Haddonfield, Michael Myers killed teenagers. You don't need to tell me 10 fucking times.
Yeah.
They just say it over and over. It genuinely makes me mad. Like I audibly groan every time a character says that. And like they rehash it so much in like the flashbacks. Then we get like the Tommy Doyle saying exactly what happened. Then we get the news reporter, and then they're constantly telling us like, "Oh, Laurie, that crazy woman that's been holed up there for 40 years because she survived the attack in Haddonfield on Halloween night, 1978." And it's like, yeah, I watched 2018, dude. This is a direct sequel. You don't need to tell me her arc.
Yeah.
That is my biggest annoyance with this movie and why I just have no respect for it.
Mm-hmm.
And even the whole stuff that they're trying to be like metaphorical for with like, oh, they're all, you know, the town gets all riled up and end up like hurting like innocent people. And it's just, they just bash it over your head. And it's just, I'm not even like you said, you can do that well. They just don't.
Oh yeah, like I don't know, because like I was so uninterested with this movie while watching it. Like whenever I watch a bad movie, in my head I'm always trying to entertain myself in other ways while watching it. So like I was literally like reconstructing this entire
we were fixing it.
Trilogy. Like when I was watching it last night, and like I realized like kind of a problem that this whole like new trilogy has. I know we haven't seen Ends yet, but I'm betting I'm gonna have the same problem with it, because it's a problem with modern like reboots that are trying to do like a trilogy in general. I think it started with The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Like this movie, this whole trilogy feels like they basically split like what would be a normal like good movie into 3 movies. Like I almost feel like you could have like compressed these 3, Halloween Kills 2018 and Halloween Ends. I know we haven't seen Ends, but we can assume what happens. It's not that hard. but like Halloween Kills feels like the second act, and Halloween 2018 feels like the first act. Where like Halloween 2018, the first act, you set up Laurie, her daughter hates her, like because of all that kind of crap. And then at the end of the first act, or maybe into the second act too, like Laurie traps him in the basement, burns him alive, right? And then you think, oh wow, Laurie was right. Like, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever. So then they get away on the back of that truck. And then I was thinking also like maybe like Karen stays behind to talk to the police while her daughter goes with her grandmother to the hospital. And then maybe like when the firefighters get there, like this is another problem I have with this movie too. Like I felt like wouldn't it have been so much more tragic if the firefighters got there and the reason Michael was alive was because they revived him?
Yeah, like they didn't know.
Right, like Laurie was like this close to it being all
that
over.
That would also kind of like parallel another kind of subplot going on about was it the deputy at the time? They were going to kill Michael and he stopped them.
Oh yeah,
you know, showing that sometimes being good isn't always like the best. You know, kind of showing, you know, not everything's black and white.
Oh yeah, like I remember seeing the teaser trailer for Halloween Kills, and then I think that was the only scene that was in it was them getting away in the back of the truck, and then seeing the fire. The fire trucks coming by, and I was like, oh my god, they're gonna revive Michael. Like that would be like so heartbreaking and tragic. Like, and I was thinking like you could just like what are the big things you take away from Halloween Kills? It's just that Laurie was wrong for being obsessed with it for so long and giving all of this real estate in her head to some guy who doesn't even care about her and just wants to kill her. Yeah. Like, and then like the other big thing was that Laurie's daughter dies because of it, which I think is a nice consequence of that.
It Laurie is, but I think it's executed terribly.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like in this metaphorical movie in my head, which doesn't exist, but she stays there to like talk to the firefighters when they get there or something like that. Then they revive Michael, not knowing who he is really, because maybe he just got smoke inhalation. He didn't get burned all the way yet. Yeah. And then he gets up, he kills the firefighters tragically because they don't know who he is, and then maybe he kills Karen at the scene of the house. But then maybe Michael is like so like badly hurt because they want to make him out like he's just a dude in these movies, which I like. Maybe he like an animal, like he just goes off by himself somewhere to like heal and like maybe even die. And then maybe you do the 4 years later thing like Enz is doing, where no one knows where Michael is. Then in the third act, he reappears. Laurie has the final confrontation with him, but this time is different because she's not prepared for it like she was in 2018. Yeah. This time she's actually moved on with her life because of what she's basically doing what Karen wants her to do, which is what it seems like they're doing in Halloween Ends. Because Laurie
seems like from the trailers that Karen's death is going to be like her main motivation. Right. But she's like trying to move on, but still like recognizing it.
Yeah. So then you do that whole thing. And then Laurie has her final confrontation with Michael years later, and we don't even know if he's alive, and then he appears, you know. And then it's just like a really brutal all-out brawl. And then Laurie kills Michael. That's how I would have done this movie. But instead, like the whole point of Kills could be summed up into like one like 10-minute part of a second act of a movie. You know what I mean?
There's like no arcs. no. It's Laurie goes to hospital. Michael goes home. Yeah, it took an hour and like 40-something minutes to do that.
Right, and at the end of it, like, what do we get out of it? Like,
nothing. And like, okay, and then Karen's death. It's just so last minute and stupid. It feels almost like just tacked on. Yeah. Like, there's no reason for her to go into the house. There's no reason for Michael to be there. And what they should have done is just... Karen gets in the way, like Michael, I don't know, Michael's going to stab her daughter, like, you know, in the movie, Karen saves her daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And then Karen gets, you know, sacrifices herself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they could do that.
That's easy. Mm-hmm. But instead, we just got Karen staring out a window going, oh, I guess this is what Michael sees. And then Michael killing her. And then I was laughing because in the director's cut we watched, Laurie, like, when she finds out Michael's alive. Also, I didn't even realize first time watching it, Laurie literally thinks Michael's dead for like an hour and 45 minutes of this hour and 50-minute movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Michael picks up the phone for some reason and just goes,
he's breathing into it.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm coming to get you, Michael. And it's like, this is schlock. We've entered schlock territory.
Like, the part that's funny to me is, like, I really wish they would have cut back to Michael on the other end of the phone, and you see him with an iPhone up to his ear.
Yeah,
that would have been
that's
so
why
funny.
they didn't show it.
Oh yeah, they knew that would look ridiculous. It's so funny.
And also, would Michael even know how to open or answer a smartphone?
You know what? I'm actually okay with that. I was thinking about that during that because Michael has done things that he shouldn't know how to do, like, so many different times.
Drive a car. Yeah, that's fine.
Drive a car. Like, he probably didn't even know what phones were when he was a kid. And he knows to pick up that phone that what's her name is holding when she's talking on the phone with Laurie in the original. Like, it seemed like he just put it up to his ear because he was wondering what she was doing with it. Like, and then he ended up hearing Laurie. So I'm actually not that. Like, I like the idea of that scene, but yeah, it is really silly to think about Michael, like,
it's goofy,
sliding to answer an iPhone and then putting it up to his ear, like,
yeah, and just like out of spite.
Oh,
because again, they've committed to this is that Michael doesn't give a shit about Laurie.
Yeah,
they've committed to this bit, and I was so tired. Oh my god, when I remember in the theaters, like, scared because Karen was just like, he's stalking my mother. He stalked her for 40 years and now he's gonna kill her. And it's like one dude told you this and now you're just like on board.
Yeah.
Like a part that makes Laurie's thing so tragic is that, like, she spent so much headspace thinking of Michael and Michael literally doesn't even know. Like, he doesn't care.
Oh yeah, I like that a lot. Like,
that's my favorite part.
Yeah,
I like that they commit. That is something that they have failed to acknowledge, like, to do in all the sequels, except like Rob Zombie's, kind of.
Yeah,
Rob Zombie kind of goes there, but he does it correct.
Right. Yeah.
Again, it's just stupid, and it doesn't add anything because in the end, it doesn't matter. We know that Michael doesn't give a shit.
Well, I don't know. I've always interpreted in this movie, like, that's one of the things that they don't hammer you on the head with, which is why I think they don't actually intend it. But,
yeah.
Like, I always thought that, like now Michael's after them. He wasn't before, but now he remembers them.
He's like,
because,
hey, fuck you. You tried to kill me.
Yeah, like, you locked me in a fucking basement and tried to burn me alive. Like, I'm actually going to go specifically target you.
Revenge story.
Right, yeah. And I think that's a cool way, and that's why I was thinking, like, if this was like if all these three movies were condensed, like, you start out the movie with Michael doesn't care, but then the third act he's actually targeting Laurie specifically for what he did, which is what I hope they do in Ends. I'm hoping that maybe he is actually targeting her this time, but she's unprepared for it.
Yeah, like, he's just being very spiteful.
Right, yeah, like, he's like, and that's the scene that gave me that impression was when Michael killed Laurie's granddaughter's boyfriend on the stairs,
and he's like extra mean about it.
Oh yeah, like she's like, no, please, and then he purposely stops, turns, and twists his head and, like, kills him finally. And that's a
really awesome kill.
I know, yeah. That's the thing. There's so many great scenes sprinkled throughout this movie. Like, I love this scene when he kills that old couple. Like
when he just slides that light into her neck, and it's just, it's so satisfying, yet, like, hard to watch.
Yeah. It's, like, so weird. Like, I feel like this guy could be a legitimate horror director, but he can't write them.
Yes.
Like, he needs to get someone who's smarter than him.
He's like Shyamalan. Let Shyamalan direct movies, but please, God, do not let him write.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, it's this weird thing.
For me, honestly, that is I think you like Kills maybe a little bit more than me, then that's not saying much. But this time around, I was more miserable than seeing it for the first time, because I was actually like, before, like when we first watched it, I was trying to piece together like what is going on.
Yeah.
Like how did we come to this? And then this time, knowing that, I'm like connecting like what they thought. I'm like, oh, this is just not good. And again, like my biggest complaint is they basically put pause on every character's arc. And, like the biggest thing, and this is what I realized they did, is the boyfriend character. In 2018, he straight up cheats on Laurie's daughter or granddaughter, right?
Yeah.
And that is never resolved. They never see each other again until this one. And suddenly, it's just immediately, they don't even acknowledge it. She just forgives him, and then they go on their merry way. And it's like, what was the point then?
Yeah, what was the point of all that? I don't know. I think what they were trying to do was make it seem like a realistic relationship, where it like has its like ups and downs. And that's kind of what makes it more tragic when he finally dies, because they never really get to resolve that with each other. I think that's what they were trying to do. I give them the benefit of the doubt with all of this stuff, by the way.
I'm not. I'm going to tell you, I liked this movie a lot less than I did the first time. Like, and I'm turning into that weird part of the fandom, like you said. Pretty much whenever Michael wasn't on screen, I hated every second of it. I was it was a combination of bored and just stupid. Like, and again, they introduce overbloated with characters. They introduce all these characters like Tommy Doyle, all these other like Lindsay. Like, okay, I guess I care, but I don't, because they're not the same character. They're 40 years later. Like, I don't give a shit.
No, and,
you know what I mean?
It's like they did not go anywhere near what Laurie went through that night. Like,
no, especially Lonnie. They made a character that's supposed to have all this trauma, and he literally, Michael Myers just kind of like looked at him, and he's just like, yeah, let's get the boys together and go kill an innocent man tonight. And it's like, fuck you, dude. You know?
Yeah.
Like, why? You already have all these characters. You have a nurse that we saw for maybe 10 seconds. She was probably like titled Nurse 1 in the credits. And you expect me to like care?
Oh yeah, I care about her and her like grand arc. Yeah.
Yeah. And it baffles me. Like, it's fine, you know, okay, little fan service here and there. Oh yeah, that's this character, but just like, I don't need them in it. Like, I don't need them to be the main force. I don't know, that's just me. Like, maybe just like fun little like, oh, that's the nurse at the bar. She's here to commemorate the anniversary of the Michael Myers attack.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. If I were in charge of writing these scripts, like, I would not have made a trilogy. I would have made one movie based on the ideas that they have here. Like cut out 99% of kills. All you need from kills is Karen to die because of Laurie's trauma, holding on to it, all that kind of crap. And then you also need to prove that point, which can be done in like 10 minutes in like the second act of a movie. Like, get rid of Tommy Doyle. No one cares about Tommy Doyle. Laurie babysat him, and the whole point was that Laurie protected him from the horrors of Michael Myers. Like, he should not be as traumatized or mad about it as she is. And introducing all of these characters makes Laurie's emotional character arc and trauma feel less special, because you're putting all these people that are like going through the same thing, where they're like, oh yeah, let's give it back to him. Let's get a gun and a bat and let's go beat the shit out of Michael Myers.
And it's like this entire town gets riled up. And it's like, we never see them. Like, if anything, they're just like pissed off that their town is known as that place where a guy killed a bunch of teenagers.
Oh yeah, that's how I would be, at least.
Yeah. Be like, there's more to Haddonfield. We have like a cool pizza place. We have a Chinese restaurant run by actual Chinese people. That's pretty cool.
Oh my god.
I mean, honestly, that's all you can really brag about when you live in Illinois. But
yeah.
To me, it just, all of Kills feels just like a lot of filler that I don't care about. And let me tell you, I knew the second when, I think this is when I turned to you in Kills, and this is when I just hated Tommy. They're at a talent show on Halloween night. Everyone's drinking. Everyone's having a good time. You know, it's Halloween. Tommy goes up there like, oh yeah, let's introduce Tommy Doyle. Okay, clear. He's respected in the community. He's a fun guy. Oh yeah, isn't that kid that Laurie babysitted when Michael Myers said, oh, okay, cool. And then he just goes, I'm not going to bird whistle for you. I'm going to bring out this town's equivalent of 9/11. I'm going to bum everyone out. And I'm going to go. And that's the thing. He literally says it. And he's like, so let's remember everybody. Also, I'm going to continue talking for 5 minutes. And it's like, and again, he's just explaining what happened in the first movie and how upset he is. And I'm like, yeah, dude, if I was attacked by a serial killer 40 years ago, I'd be pretty upset. But you don't see me going up at open mic night.
Yeah.
And just bringing everyone's moods down.
Bumming people out.
Yeah, and that's when I realized, I'm like, okay, this guy's, I don't like him.
No,
and then he becomes increasingly more likable. And like his character isn't anything. There's nothing there. It's devoid of all logic.
Yeah.
He's a single brain-celled organism. He just knows Michael Myers bad. Also, I remember him. He was a pretty big 6-foot guy. Maybe this frumpy little 5'2" man who clearly has no clue where he is. Yeah, that's Michael. That's Michael Myers. Yeah, you know, and okay. All right, hang on. I'm opening up something.
Okay.
More logic.
Go for
it. Right? National-wide, international-wide, because those podcasters were British. They know Michael Myers, right? Michael Myers is in prison. Very public information. You can get mugshots, so people know what Michael Myers looks like. Like, I think when they were writing it, they just thought, oh, the audience doesn't really know, even though we kind of do. But, like, it's so hidden, maybe the people don't know. But it's like, no, they know what Michael Myers looks like.
Oh, yeah. They even show his face on the news in the bar. They show.
Yeah, but they're like, oh, 2 people were escaped. So they just assume maybe that's Michael. But it's like, no, you know. I'm sure that news has information on you.
No, yeah.
Yet, the entire town sees this little receding hairline little man and go, yeah, that's Michael. It is, if it wasn't so devoid of logic, I would forgive it more.
Yeah.
But it just seems so unnecessary to, like, hammer that nail so hard. When it is something so minor and I don't think adds anything to the arc of Laurie at all.
No, if anything, it dilutes it and makes it less special.
It doesn't matter because Michael kills them all in the end.
Right.
So it's just filler. And also hang on, we got to get into the biggest problem. And also where Kills, and this is when I think we all audibly like groaned and looked at each other, is like when the whole town confronts Michael and they trap him. And they shoot the shit out of him and beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Right? And meanwhile, Laurie's going like a whole monologue, and she's just like, "Evil can't die. Every kill, he becomes stronger." And like, I know she's talking about like, you know, like metaphorically, like, even if he's dead, he'll still, you know, be in all of our hearts, blah blah blah, all that crap. But. And, you know, I forgive, like, the first movie, I think it's fine that Michael got shot so many times and survived in the sequels. Like, in the other ones. I never thought that was weird. People have lived much worse deaths without medical treatment on their own, right?
Right.
This one, he gets shot a lot. Like, in the chest. He gets the shit beaten out of him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, he is on the floor out. Like, he is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And with that Laurie speech, and he gets up and fights them and lives, it makes me feel like they're going down the route that Michael is immortal, which, again, we've said time and time again with the sequels. The second you do that, it undermines his entire character and instantly becomes not scary at all.
I don't know. Okay, that scene to me was them like putting that idea out there and seeing their people's reaction to it. Because like,
but it's stupid.
I know it is. It is stupid. It definitely is. I'm not saying it's not. But I think they were like, let's tightrope walk it. Let's do in between and see what people think. If people want it to be supernatural, then the next one we can make it supernatural. And if they don't, if we can just say, oh, that was a metaphorical speech Laurie was talking about. She was talking about people's fears and all that kind of crap. It could go both ways. I feel like that was them like being like, what's people's reaction to this? Yeah,
let's
like
see.
That sort of thing.
Well, I think it's stupid.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Like, that whole thing is dumb.
Much more fine if their trap didn't work and Michael just murdered them all, and bashed Tommy Doyle's head in even more.
Right
now, when Michael Myers to lift up his man and spit in his open skull,
in his face,
yeah, and then piss on him.
But I want to do a thought experiment. This is something else that I really wanted to talk about because I think it's interesting with Tommy. Obviously, we know in Halloween 6, Tommy Doyle was played by Paul Rudd in that film at the very beginning of his career. He was a nobody back then. Mm-hmm. So, and then I read that from Malik Akkad, who is Mustafa Akkad's son, who runs the franchise now, basically. He was saying that they actually approached Paul Rudd to play Tommy Doyle in Halloween Kills again, to have him return and everything. Because why would you not? Paul Rudd's a huge star.
His name would instantly just bring viewers.
Oh, yeah. If you had fucking JLC and Paul Rudd in the same movie, like, good lord. Like, that would bring a lot of people in. And then, allegedly, Paul Rudd had to choose between that or Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think he made the right choice by choosing Ghostbusters Afterlife, even though it's not a great movie. But
yeah, I mean, but to be fair, like, he probably saw that Ghostbusters Afterlife has Muncher, and he was reading the script of Halloween Kills, and he's like, hang on, there's something wrong. There's no Muncher. I'm gonna go with the movie that has Muncher.
Oh, and he's voiced by Greg Turkington too? Wow.
Yeah, wow, yeah. That's the sign of a good movie.
Well, my thought experiment basically is like, do you think that Tommy Doyle's character would have worked more if it was Paul Rudd playing him? Like, exactly the same. Exactly as written. All the dialogue is the same.
I can't even picture Paul Rudd delivering that performance. Like, I can't... Maybe Tommy would be a bit more likable, but the whole point of Tommy is I think he is another tragic story. It's what happens when you get wrapped up in kind of the moment and the heat of things and don't really think it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't see, like, Paul Rudd would they would have to write him in jokes and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I
can't see that character as Paul Rudd, and I can't see Paul Rudd like playing that kind of role. So I think I would hate it even more.
Really?
Also, I don't like Paul Rudd, so yeah, I probably would hate it even more.
Oh my god. How could you not like Paul Rudd?
I don't give a shit about Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd has never given me a reason to care about him.
He's not really done anything good. Well, Anchorman is not that bad. Anchorman's kind of funny.
I've never seen Anchorman.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Like, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I just don't care.
He's funny. I mean,
like, I see, it's like now it's like with Ryan Reynolds. I see Ryan Reynolds and I immediately roll my eyes and go, yeah, I'm not watching that. Paul Rudd's in that category. Paul Rudd's in that category. It's Paul Rudd, Ryan Reynolds, and The Rock. Those,
my god.
And Mark Wahlberg. Throw Mark Wahlberg in there. Chris Pratt's getting there. Throw all those guys. Second I see them in a movie, I have like a calm like moment where I go, okay, cool, I don't have to watch this movie. Nice. So yeah, I think I would hate this movie. Let me tell you, on my letterbox, I gave Halloween Kills. I was originally at 1.5 star, and on this rewatch, I went down to 1. But I'll tell you what, if Paul Rudd was in this movie, I'd maybe bring it down to 0.5 star.
Oh my god. See, I'm going to be on the opposite side. I actually think Tommy Doyle's character would have worked a lot more if it was Paul Rudd. Just because I think Paul Rudd is just like a naturally charming, and I think I would have bought more that he would have been able to go around town and get people to join in his thing, because like I don't know, Paul Rudd is like a very nice guy, and like Like he just gives off like a trusting kind of persona, and obviously he's a pretty funny dude. So like I actually think it would have worked more, and it would have not made people hate him as much.
Well, the thing about Tommy Doyle, his whole character needs to be played by a guy who probably coaches his son's like pee-wee football team and then like swears at the children when they fumble or whatever you do in football. So like and the movie banks so hard on holy shit, Tommy Doyle is cool. You know, they do all those poses of him in the bat where he's like, "Come get him!"
Oh my god!
And it's like, no, save this for Laurie with her gun. That's cool.
Yeah,
I don't care about this flat top. You know, with a bat. Like and again, here. Okay, hang on. Piecing stuff together here. This movie would have been better is if we didn't know that person they were chasing is or isn't Michael.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It would have been a hell of a lot more interesting. Maybe save that, just have 20 minutes of the movie. We haven't seen Michael yet. Oh, that's Michael, blah, blah. It's more traumatic when the reveal is, oh shit, they killed an innocent person to us as the audience. But because the whole time we're like, wait, no, you guys are chasing the wrong guy, and they still do it throughout the entire movie. You're like, fuck, like I know, like I'm like again, the movie is treating the audience as stupid. Like what am I supposed to feel emotionally from this? Like I'm more mad than I should be upset.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad that they're chasing this man. I'm just mad because how stupid they are about it. But if I don't know, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Okay. I'm done. We're done talking about Tommy Doyle. I've said my piece.
Oh my god. Well, I just wanted to say I definitely think the movie you're supposed to hate Tommy Doyle. I think so.
Don't believe that at all. Through the cinematography, you are supposed to think Tommy Doyle is awesome.
Well, I think maybe you're supposed to think like he is he's making a mistake, and maybe that he's a good guy really. But I definitely think you're supposed to hate him, because like how can you not hate him when they're chasing down like an innocent person and trying to kill him?
But Tommy has the realization though. Like he realizes it before the mob.
Yeah.
When he's like the second him and the sheriff see it, they realize, oh yeah, that's not Michael.
Yeah. But
it's too late. So you are supposed to like empathize with him.
You are. That's what I'm saying. I think you're supposed to. See, I honestly think it's down to that guy's performance, Anthony Michael Hall. I legitimately believe that if it was Paul Rudd as written, I think they wrote that for Paul Rudd. Because I think you're supposed to like him a lot more, but because of that dude's performance,
disagree with you. That is just, I like again. I don't even like The Thing as a whole, so I can't even be on board with the idea of who it is. You can get fucking and you get Danny DeVito to play that role, and I would still be like, ugh. You know.
But you wouldn't hate
Danny
him as
DeVito
much.
should have been the little guy they were chasing. I would have liked this movie more.
He did look like the Penguin, I will say.
Yeah, he did. But one thing I do want to talk about is the Loomis. When they bring back Loomis.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was losing it on this rewatch. Because when Loomis comes in, he's like, "Where is he? Where is he, deputy?" And he just, and like Michael's outside, they already caught him, and Loomis goes in and goes, "Did he kill again? Did he kill again? What happened?" And it's like, why do you care? Like, why would you say this? Was this just like unused audio they had?
No, I think because you're supposed to be like empathizing for the cop because he killed his friend. So in that moment, you're supposed to be like, oh, is he going to say that he killed him or that Michael killed him?
But like, why would Loomis just go up and shoot Michael in the head? Loomis is that unhinged. He doesn't care if there's a bunch of officers.
Yeah.
He would just run up and cap Michael.
Yeah. Which it's what he does in that later flashback, which I like.
Yeah.
I like it. Michael's just defenseless, like on the ground, and Loomis is ready to just shoot him in the head.
Yeah, he's like gonna execute him. I have a mixed feeling on those flashbacks because I think at the beginning they're really interesting, Like very similar. Like they stitched together footage from like Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's pretty neat. I didn't like that they gave the whole deputy an arc again, just to explain why we're caring about this character later.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just, the whole thing felt stupid, and there's no real logic behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, those cops kind of came onto the idea, the logical conclusion of, oh, maybe he went home. Before anybody else could. But yeah, I mean, there was no reason for the cop to look out the window. Although I do like that kill, though, when Michael just rushes him from the closet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's very well executed from a directing and like shot standpoint. Like, but it's just so badly written. Like, the lines are so bad. Like,
it's terrible.
Like that whole thing where he's like, Haddonfield, a town where nothing ever happens. It's like, God, that is so awful. Like, I don't know what even to say.
Yeah, it's just they feel like they're in like a comic book.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, like I said, every character is just stating what they're doing, why they're doing it. That's all this movie is. There's nothing. There's nothing to think about when watching this movie.
And it's a symptom of the having too many characters thing. Because
again, you can't cook any of them. You can't sit with them.
Right. Yeah. You have to, like, the scenes that they have to be extremely efficient, and efficient to them is just literally stating what they're thinking and feeling of what they want to do, like every scene, just because you don't have time to actually show a natural progression of all that kind of stuff.
And again, I mean, I don't like stupid movies. Okay.
Yes.
That's I don't have a high tolerance for like Marvel movies, like any of the new Star Wars, like major blockbusters, because I absolutely hate. One of my biggest pet peeves is just movies explaining themselves to you.
Yeah.
And 2018 didn't really do that much other than maybe their arcs, but in general.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, we're going to kill Michael because he did this to our community. And like every character is saying that every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then Laurie's daughter going, my mother raised me in a hell because she was so traumatized because of what Michael did to her. And again, that's my biggest flaw with kills for me. That annoys me the most. is it doesn't let you actually think or interpret anything. And that is my major problem with most blockbusters, and why I absolutely can't stand when you drag me to those shitty Marvel movies.
Well, to be fair, I have not done that in a very long time.
Only because you moved states.
Well, no. I mean, even like Black Adam, that's coming out. No intention on inviting you guys.
I was gonna take you to see Black Adam. What are you talking about?
Were you actually?
You know me. Yeah, I was. You know me. I'm a big Adam head.
Yeah, I know you love The Rock. So.
I love The Rock. I love Black Adam. I love the DCEU.
Yeah.
I just love it. I'm kind of bummed now. Okay. Huh.
Well, I mean, I'm doing it out of kindness to you because I respect you as my friend, so that's really what it is. It's not like I'm like, oh, he doesn't like Marvel movies. I
actually thank you for that.
Okay,
because I remember seeing Black Panther with you guys, and I don't think I've ever wanted to be out of a theater more than watching that movie.
No, yeah, that one time I almost got you to go to Endgame.
I was so lucky. One of our friends was like able to take the ticket.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my god, I would not have been able to sit through 3 hours of that shit.
That's when I felt like a piece of shit for trying to make you go.
It's okay. No, okay. You know how many weird fucking art films I've pushed on you that I'm pretty sure you thought were okay, but told me they were great. So, I mean, we're even.
I like most of the movies you show me. I'm not gonna lie. I really do.
All right. Well, we're even. We settled that here publicly.
Yeah, so we did.
I've forgiven you of your sins.
Okay, cool.
But to be, I will say though, greatly appreciate that you forced me out there, because then when people like go, oh, you don't like Marvel because you just don't like things popular, it's like I got ammo. I've seen them.
Oh yeah,
you know?
no, you've seen.
I know
them, yeah.
why.
Yeah,
I know why. You idiot.
No, and that I think that comes from our. I feel like I'm not as opposed to Kills. I think we vary just very slightly. Like I like it slightly more than you do. Like, and like I grew up my whole life reading comic books. Like as a 5-year-old, I read like fucking Iron Man comics. Yeah, so that, and I watched Adam Sandler movies growing up.
Yeah,
so like,
I rewatched Halloween 1 over and over when I was a kid. So
yes, yeah, and I wasn't even allowed to. I wasn't even allowed to watch Batman cartoons when I was a kid because they were too violent.
Oh my god. Meanwhile, my mom was sitting me down and was like, I think at one point she rented all the Jaws for me.
Really?
And we just had a whole day of watching Jaws. Well, my grandma had a bunch of VHSs of all the old like black and white like I know Little Shop of Horrors all the time. I watched like the Ants movie with the big ants. Like all those weird like B movie horror movies I always watched when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So I was very exposed to violence.
I was not. I remember when Batman Begins came out. I remember my mom would not let me watch that. So I remember being in a mall and seeing it playing on a TV. And so I couldn't even hear it, but I was so excited to watch it. I just ran up to the window and was just staring at it for like 10 minutes.
You're like those people in the 80s movies whenever something big happens in the news and there's an electronics store and there's all the TVs. I didn't think that was real, but that's you.
Yeah, that's literally me. That's literally what I was. Dude, I remember the only way we got away with watching like even PG-13 or R movies was my sister and I would secretly get them sent in the mail from Netflix. And then we would literally wake up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. when everyone else was asleep, and we would watch them, and we would feel like so bad because we're doing something so like against the rules.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
it's okay. I'm pretty sure I did that with like Family Guy.
Did you really?
Yeah, I remember like staying up late to like watch Family Guy or some shit like that. And then I remember I think I was like brave enough to like tell my dad that I was watching Family Guy, and he was like, "Oh, I don't care." And then I just like started watching South Park.
Oh, okay.
So we had very different experiences.
Oh god, yeah, apparently. Jeez.
So we'll see which one of us murders our first person in real life. We'll see if it was because of the violent media I consumed.
I feel like I'm more likely just because, you know, I've all those
more repressed, pent up rage.
You know, could happen. You never know, Dax. Be careful.
You could. Oh god.
I'm just joking.
Now whenever we make any creative decisions about this show, you're gonna be like, hey, remember, I wasn't exposed to violence until in a later age in my life. You know, anything could activate me. I saw the Joker and it changed me. All right, let's just sum it up. Not great.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it anymore.
I don't want to talk it. And I know me personally, I get more fired up about a movie when I think it has the potential to be good. Just like I was talking, I feel like I was giving 2018 Much Harder. I think it's a good movie. But it's just when I see good potential, I hate when it's squandered, when it's crushed.
Yeah.
So it gets me more passionate.
Right.
About it, and that is Kills for me. I think it's just such a big disappointment, and it doesn't leave me excited for Ends.
Yeah.
Which, let's get into our predictions for Ends. Mm-hmm. Where I remember we saw the leaks, so I'm trying to kind of keep those out of my prediction.
Yeah.
But I do think they're going to do something a little wacky.
Yeah.
Like, I think that everything we've seen in the trailer is only going to be like the first 30 minutes of the movie. Like, I think that the big confrontation is going to happen in the beginning.
Okay.
I want to say, like, first act is the confrontation. Mm-hmm. And then I think the rest of the movie is going to be some weird thing of, like, Laurie recovering or something like that.
Yeah.
That is my prediction, and I'm going a little bit off of the leaks only because seeing all the dumb decisions they did in Kills and how I think they've kind of owned it and said, oh, well, if you don't like this, it means you don't like kills and you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see them wanting to rattle even more cages and do something even more crazy.
Yeah.
And unconventional. So that's my kind of prediction they're going to do. Mm-hmm. But I think I want to happen is I want to see Michael's head explode.
Yes.
I want Laurie to put a 12 gauge shotgun to the back of his head and pull the trigger. I want Michael to be tied in a rope like Looney Tunes, and Jamie Lee Curtis lights a big bundle of dynamite and like puts it in his hand and then runs away. And he explodes.
Yes.
And then it just cuts to the Halloween music and credits.
You know, I'm with you. Michael, he has to be like, I want Laurie to like disembowel him and like cut him apart like Jeffrey Dahmer or something.
Yeah, I want Michael dismembered. I want him to be like a Deadite, where the only way to kill him is if you sever all the limbs,
right,
and destroy everything else.
Yes. No, yeah, I'm right there with you. I will say I know more about this movie and why it's controversial because people are fucking posting spoilers, especially this past week on social media, and unfortunately I've seen some of them.
Yeah.
And then from what I know just from watching the trailer and how there's something fishy going on with the way Michael looks in some shots where it doesn't seem like it's actually him under the mask.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I you know what? My thinking about it right now is I'm gonna give it a chance. If it's well executed, then great. I'll like it because it's different. They've never done something like that before.
I'll give it a chance. I mean, look at my love for Halloween 2. And that's barely like you consider a Halloween movie. A lot of people don't even consider it.
Yes.
I love Halloween 2. It's my favorite next to the original.
Right, yeah.
So I'm willing to give anything a chance.
Oh yeah, I think that's really where we're at. Like I don't like at the end of the day, I all I want from this movie is a satisfying end to Laurie's arc with Michael. I think that's really the whole point of doing these movies. If it's not satisfying, if Laurie does not get what she needs to get to overcome this mental illness that she has, like why even make it? Like what is the point? Like it has to do that at least for me. And if it ends up being a good movie too, then great. Because I think if this ends up being bad and kills, I also hate. So I think I could just disassociate enough in my head that the only two Halloween movies are the original and 2018, and then pretend that Michael died in that basement and burned alive.
I just want Laurie to love last lines is, guess what, Michael? Halloween ends right as it hits like midnight. And then blast his face off and we get like Scanners level gore. Just
that would not surprise me because one of the lines that I don't like for 2018 is where Laurie calls him the Shape.
Yeah. She's like, I see his shape, the shape.
Yeah, like bus. It's like, what, did you read the credits to the 1978 movie? Like, why do you call him that?
Yeah, there's so many callbacks like, hey, Michael, everyone's in for a good scare or whatever. It's like, fuck you, bracket.
I almost hate that guy more than I hate Tommy Doyle, honestly. Just because, like, he's like, why do I care that they brought back that sheriff from the original? Like, and he's like old and fat and short now too, and his acting is so bad. It really is. I mean, I feel bad for saying that because the dude is so old, but like, it's like, why did you bring him back?
Just
all
have
those
him there.
Characters are
Don't
annoying.
give him a part.
Right, have him like a cameo where he's old and retired, like.
And it doesn't matter because all these legacy characters they brought back are dead now, so who gives a shit?
Right. That's the one thing I'm really glad that they did was that they killed off a lot of these annoying ass characters, so we don't have to see them.
That's what Star
in this
Wars
one.
needs to do.
Honestly, yeah.
Hey, this new show with all your favorite characters, and then they just get blasted in the face. Hey, you like Babu Freak? Here he is, and then he just blows up.
Someone steps on him.
Yeah, someone steps on him, and then like. A Schlorbo eats the goo.
A Schlorbo?
I don't know. It's probably an alien. You know a Schlorbo on planet Gabagoo?
Planet Gabagool.
Gabagool.
That's where Tony Soprano's from.
Yeah, that's the Tony Soprano planet. Oh my god. Okay, we talked way too long about Tommy Doyle, so I'm calling it.
Yeah, we're done.
We're excited for what's this movie called? Ends. I keep calling Kills Ends and Ends Kills for some reason.
Yeah.
We're excited. We're gonna watch it together and record right after, so our opinions will be very fresh.
Yes.
So look forward, and then we're gonna be ranking all of them in another video, so that will be a lot of fun. Well, maybe not ranking, but like a tier list.
Yeah,
ranking would be boring because it would obviously be, I wonder what the best one is, huh? Like, that's weird. What could be the best one?
Right.
Is it gonna be 6? I don't know.
And I think it'll be interesting because we're gonna have to come to an agreement on one list. So, well, I think I'm going to have to capitulate and compromise with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
You are going to have to do a lot of compromising. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're going to have to compromise a hell of a lot. All right. Well, that was our review of 2018 and Kills. Definitely go check out. I mean, if you haven't seen any of them and are looking forward to at least watch 2018. Because it's fine.
Yeah.
And then sit through Kills and try to watch it. And I want to preface, if you like Kills or 2018, like I'm not bashing. These are all personal preferences. I think Kills, a lot of the choices come down to personal preference. That's what I've been reading in like the community too.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. Some stuff is really bad in that.
Oh, I'm not defending some stuff. I'm just trying to lessen our enemies because I know the Kills fans are very ravage.
I feel like those same people though are the ones that want Michael to win, and I'm not really interested in talking to those people. I'm just done with them.
If Michael is your role model, get help.
Yes, if you want to unzip Michael's jumpsuit and suck his cock, we don't want to talk to you.
I mean, actually, I would want to talk to someone that sucked Michael's cock, but not about the franchise, more about Michael's penis.
Fair enough. I would want to know too, just out of curiosity.
Okay, now that we've had our penis conversation out of the way, let's end it here. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.